This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today when we're talking about the Agile Scrum qualifications, in particular the product owner side. It's difficult in these trying times though with coronavirus, and perhaps this is the best way to spread the message. But you'll see on the bottom of your first screen that this course and many others are available in the classroom and with a live trainer. But enough of that. Me, you may or may not know, I've been around the business a long time. I go into an organization, I probably see somebody I know, but more importantly is you've got Ademar on the line, who is an expert in the XIN program. And as I say, he's going to talk to you about the XIN Scrum product owner course today. So I'm going to hand you over to Ademar. Ademar, have we got you? Are you there, Ademar?
We share my screen over here. Just a second. Yep. So, welcome everybody. Today I'm going to talk about the BCS XIN Agile Scrum Product Owner, and this is going to be our agenda. First of all, I'm going to explain about what it is the role of the product owner, the main roles and responsibilities, what it is the product backlog that is related to the role, and then also which kind of path you should follow to become a product owner, or to increase your knowledge of what means to be a product owner. So first of all, what it is a product owner, what it is the overview of the role. Basically, many organizations, they struggle to understand how they should launch their products, because somewhere in the strategy, they are defining which products they would like to launch in the next period of time. And then somehow the marketing department, they're going to run a survey, they're going to do a market research, they're going to do some investigations to come up with some analysis about, shall we launch this product or not? Shall we change the vision of this product or not? And then based on the outcomes from marketing, then a product manager, a traditional one, will get this information, and then they are going to design and to plan the launch of the product. But the question is, who is the responsible from the beginning up to the end, and even after to the end of the launch, to the life cycle of the product? Where is the completely product vision of that product? Usually for organizations that are not working based on Agile, usually this information are split among the organization, which makes difficult to them to reanalyze if they're doing the right things or not, when it's time to change, when it's time to adopt, or even though when it's time to go to the end life of the product. For these main challenges, the product owner role was created to be the person that is going to take care of the whole life cycle of a product. When I talk about the whole life cycle, this is going to start in the strategy definition and up to the time that the product is being retired. So, based on this information that I just explained, so what's going to be the role of the product owner? The product owner, mainly, it's going to lead any kind of development effort to create a product that is going to generate the desired benefits, not only for the organization, but for the consumers of that product or service that is being offered in the market. So the product owner is the one that is going to listen carefully every single desire from their customers, from their consumers, about what it is expected for that product or services that are being designed or that will be designed. But not only from the side of the consumer or customer, the product owner needs to take care of. They need to take care of also from the stakeholders of the main organization. Because, of course, in the end of the day, the product or the service needs to bring the business results that are being expected. As I said before, the product owner is going to manage every single aspect of the life cycle of the product or the service. The product owner is going to be involved in the business strategy about what we're going to develop, what needs to be achieved in terms of business outcome, which kind of market is going to be achieved by that product or service, to whom, to which personas we are going to offer that product or the service, which kind of market messaging are we going to send, how this is going to work, and ultimately, of course, how we are going to develop, to design, to implement, and to offer the product or the service. So in the end of the day, the product owner is a visionary that can achieve and to oversee everything that is being needed for the product or the service, and to guarantee that the communication of the vision of that product or service, it is spread among the organization and also outside in the market to the target consumers that are going to use or to benefit from the product and service. So which kind of characteristics are being required for a product owner? Basically, the product owner needs to be respected as the voice of the customer. What do this mean? This means that the product owner represents the customer or consumer inside the organization. So the product owner needs to be continuously in touch with their consumers, trying to understand how they are behaving and using the service and the product, understanding what are the trends, the new needs of the product or the service, to be capable to translate this towards not only business speech, but also towards to a technical speech. Because on the other hand, the product owner also needs to talk to the teams that are involved on the development or maintenance or improvement of the product or the service. The product owner needs to be respected at the organization and must have enough authority over here. Although you are going to see on my next slides that this authority will not come by the role, it will come by the respect. Because in the end of the day, the product owner, as the name states, is managing a product end to end or back to back. But the product owner is not managing anyone directly. So the product owner will not have a team that is answering to him or to her. The product owner must have the authority by leadership, by showing examples about how to lead and how to engage with people and bring people together to only one goal or objective. So the product owner must be always available and qualified to the service, especially when it comes down to communication. Because in the end of the day, one of the main things that the product owner is going to be doing is communicating to any different levels of the organization and also outside of the organization. So for those that were thinking about, is a product owner a full-time job? My answer to this is definitely it is. It's impossible to think about someone being product owner and being something else. But of course, if it is the timing that the organization is passing through an agile transition by moving forward from the previous traditional way of working to the agile way of working, some overlaps that are going to happen, and most likely product owners that are becoming product owners now, they are still doing previous activities, which is completely normal. But in the end of the day, when everything is stabilized and also the foundations are there, so then the product owner must be only product owner. So what are the main tasks and responsibilities? What looks like a day of being a product owner? So the main mission of the product owner is to maximize the value of the product and work from the development team. Usually we call development team, but I prefer to use only team, because in the past we used to call development team because Agile Scrum was more related to development and coding aspect, but nowadays is spread in the entire organization. So the term development kind of came down, but nowadays makes more sense to talk only about team, okay? Because could be any part of the organization. So keeping in mind that the product owner is the responsible of creating and maximizing, optimizing the value of the product, which kind of activities the product owner must do during the day or during his activities or during the daily business. Basically, the product owner is the only person responsible for managing what we call the product backlog. What it is, the product backlog? Basically, is a list of features or needs that a service or product must be incorporated. So, for example, let's say that we have an application running online, and our users and consumers, they have a wish to be able to edit their profile by themselves without having to keep in touch with the service desk. So this is what we call a user story that's going to be noted by the product owner, and this is going to be added in what we call the product backlog, which is going to be discussed later during meetings with the development teams and also with the Scrum Master. So just for you to have in mind, the product backlog is a list of future features that must be taken in consideration and implemented in a near future for a product or for a service. So the only person that can change or prioritize this product backlog is the product owner. The main reason of this is because we can only have one ownership for this, because otherwise everybody is going to put different priorities, and then everything that are priority, in the end of the day, nothing's priority. So basically, the product owner needs to clearly express the product backlog items. So the PO or product owner is going to be the one addressing, adding, removing, or changing any item in the product backlog. Only him or her can do it. Apart from this, he or her is the only one that is going to order the items based on priorities, and these priorities will come from stakeholders, from the business, and customers and consumers. And then, apart from this, the product owner needs to evaluate which kind of work is going to be more valuable and which one are going to bring the best return of the investment to the organization and to the consumers. And based on these, priorities are being there, defined. Although the product backlog needs to be something visible. Everybody needs to see and to understand where we are and to where we are going, because this is going to make easier to everybody to understand to which direction we should go. Because otherwise, we can think about like organizations that doesn't have like a clear priority or is not being able to demonstrate or to show this, and then everybody thinks about different priorities for the momentum. And then, of course, everybody's going to different directions, and the major goal of the business are not met in the end of the day. So this is one of the items that are really important during transitioning for Agile, because Agile stands for transparency in any level. And then the team that is going to work with the product backlog and the items that are there, they need to understand what is being required from them, because otherwise they're not going to know what needs to be done, and then this creates some kind of difficulties. And for now, I use the term called definition of done. That is something that is really, really important when working with Agile and being a product owner. Because what could be considered done for me as a product owner is a different thing for the teams, because the teams sometimes they are too techy, and then they cannot understand that, for example, for me, the definition of done means not only the users being able to edit their profile in the end of the day, but needs to be with a good and well done designing. Because if the screens are looking a bit crappy, so then probably the users they are not going to use the new feature that is implemented. So that my definition of done should be the users must be able to edit their profile, the design must be good, accessible, and needs to have this or that. So this is my definition of done that I, as product owner, need to agree in advance with the team that is going to work with the product backlog items. So when we are talking about the product backlogs, maybe now is still a bit vague to you about what this should look like. And then I have a simple example to you. If you look over this screen right now with this slide that is being shown to you, you are going to see in the middle a lot of pictures over here that they are together. So imagine that, for example, your new application or your new service or your new product or whatever it is that you are planning to do is the overall picture together. And for every single piece that is connected over here in this slide, this is one of the items of the product backlog. So each of these frameworks, they are one or more features that are going to be implemented. So first of all, just using this small example, I'm showing to my team all the features that must be implemented, and then also together with the vision, where I would like them to go and what things must be done. And based on this, I'm going to discuss which ones are more priority than others, which kind of then are going to bring more return to the investment and more value for the product or for the service, thinking about the consumers and also the stakeholders. Which are the risks that are there that we need to avoid or to minimize? Is there any dependencies over here between these features that I need to consider during the prioritization? What's going to be our deadline since we are discovering the product backlog and also the items that needs to be developed? And which kind of value are we going to provide in the end of the day by completing with this whole backlog? When we talk about the backlog, I can talk about backlog for at least like one day with you guys connected over here. But at least for now, this is the main concept that you need to keep in mind about what it is the product backlog, and to at least have a better vision about what the product owner is going to be doing along the day, apart from communicating. So when we look about like in a timeline or order of activities for the product owner, so how things are going to work. So let's say that in the strategy and or in the tactical layer of the organization, we are going to decide about which products or services we are going to launch or to improve or to hit higher. And based on this, the product owner is going to develop what we call the product vision that incorporates any feature that we are going to have in that product or service, and which kind of priorities we are going to take place. And based on this, the product backlog is going to be designed. With the product backlog, so then we are going to talk to the teams and the Scrum Master to define which ones are going to be more prior to others, and then start to define what we call the sprint planning. The sprint planning is nothing less, nothing more than the planning from every single feature that are going to be designed and implemented and launched during the next period of time. that this is going to be more or less between 1 to 3 weeks time. And based on this, the sprint backlog is created. And then the teams, they're going to start to work on this. And the teams, they're going to be facilitated by the Scrum Master. So the product owner is not the only one over there involved with the teams. The Scrum Master also is leading somehow the teams without also being their managers. The Scrum Master is a facilitator, removing any kind of barriers. So when the team finishes the future or the sprint, so then it's going to take place what we call the sprint reveal. And the sprint reveal, the team is going to present to the Scrum Master and to the product owner what was finished, and then they're going to evaluate, is it something acceptable or not. The last call from this is from the product owner. The product owner needs to sign this off or to reject by saying, sorry, this is not acceptable yet. And then in case it is not good, so then goes to the sprint retrospective, where they are going to do some kind of lessons learned to understand what it is that where were their mistakes, and then the sprint planning start back again, and then all the process start again. And then if everything goes well, so then we can release the new feature to the users, consumers, or to the market. So basically, this is a simple, okay, overview about how the activities works at the organization. But of course, many parts of the meetings, communications with consumers, customers, stakeholders, they are not over here because I just would like to show at least a glimpse about how the product owner is going to work with the teams and also with the Scrum Master to make things done. So you can ask me now, okay, so can I become a product owner? Definitely you can, but in order to become a product owner, you need to develop some competences and skills that are mainly required to become a product owner. So it doesn't matter if you are coming from the techie side, or if you are already in the business side, or if you are in the financial, marketing, or whatever is the area or field that you are working at this moment. But yes, you can definitely to become a product owner. But these skills and competences you can get from attending an accredited training of product owner and also testing your knowledge in the examinations. So which kind of skills and competences you need to have or to develop in order to become a product owner? Basically, one of them that I judge that is one of the most important one, business vision. Because without understanding how to achieve business goals and to understand the business strategy and to be able to translate this into actions, then I think it's still a bit tricky. So this, for me, is one of the most important aspects of that must be developed to good product owners. And then communication, written and spoken, because you are going to do this a lot. Believe me, you are going to have to write down many documents about the product vision. You need to be able to communicate this for the outside world and to the internal world of the organization. You need to talk, you need to be able to talk and to engage with many different parts without, remember what I said before, you are not going to be their manager. You need to engage with people and lead them, but without formal authority as being a manager. So this is the comparison that usually we do with like the roles. There are differences between manager and the leader. So over here, you need to think about which skills you need to develop to yourself for you to become a leader and not a manager. Then you need to think about, you need to be an organized person because you are going to deal with so many different items in your product backlog that, believe me, this can drive you nuts. So you need to have a sense of how to organize your daily activities to guarantee that everything is going to be kept on track. So then you need to understand how to better prioritize your backlog. And there are many techniques that is available in the training that you are going to learn. So this is one of the part that I enjoyed most from the trainings of product owner, are the techniques that you can employ when you are prioritizing your backlog. And then, of course, you need to bring everybody on board with you to every single aspect. And sometimes it's quite hard to keep going with the same energy level all the time. But believe me, it's possible and you can do it. But it's going to require some kind of level of negotiation, because you are not always going to get what you want, but you are able to negotiate to get the best for the value that you can get. And this is going to require loads of emotional intelligence, that this skill you are not going to use only for product owner, but in any single thing that you are doing. And of course, if you notice, the program is called Agile and Scrum, because Scrum taps into the practices, and Agile taps into the mindset that is required. And often I would say the practice, it's not the key, but your mindset is, because the practice you can simply learn by reading a book or just surfing on the internet, but the mindset needs to be really well developed, because otherwise the practice, they are simply not going to work. So both are required. So then, what comes next? Is there a program? Is there a model? Is there a training? Is there an exam? What is available for the product owner? Yes, both are available. Well, actually, three things are available. The program that is called BCS Exing Agile Scrum. And then also we have the training that is called BCS Exing Agile Scrum Product Owner, and also the examination that is called the same name. So by attending an accredited training, so then you are going to understand what it is about. You are going to get the competences and the skills that are being required to become a product owner. And then after you pass through your training and all the competences they are developed, so then you can go and you can proceed for the international certification of product owner. And then if you are successfully approved, then you are going to receive the certificate of product owner. And then you are going to be able to be recognized internationally with your certificate, and also achieve new steps towards your career, or to improve the competences that you already have. So Bernard, the floor is all yours.
Okay, Adamar, thanks very much indeed. You can all see the things on the screen. I'm not going to read them out to you, but one of the things that strikes me about Adamar's presentation is that really this is a lot about common sense. And if you look at the skills and competencies, one is no more important than the other, but collectively they're all important in helping you to become a good product owner. So as well as process, the skills and competencies are very much the fore in this course, and they are designed specifically to help you become a good product owner. So we hope to see you on that. In terms of questions, I'll unmute microphones now. If anybody wants to say anything, that'd be great. I'm guessing not. So essentially, thanks very much for attending. Adamar, particularly, thank you very much for your time. I know how much experience you have on this and how seriously you take it. This will be available on our website and on YouTube, guys. So thank you very much for coming, and we hope to see you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Adamar.